welcome to Tyler Mini Reads, Reviews, Discusses, Monologues about everything and anything, and that's on period. Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I hope you have been having a good day so far. Today I'm just gonna jump right into it. I wanted to do anticipated book releases that I am, super excited and waiting for. I'm just gonna go across a couple of months to the end of 2025. Some of these books I already have them. Like I already went ahead and pre-ordered them, so I'm actually waiting for them. And some I have not. I'll just probably pick it up when it does come out. So without too much talking, I'm just gonna get into the books. So the first book will be The Strength of the Few by James Iserton. I have it somewhere up on the screen. And let me read the synopsis for you. This is going to be the book 2 to The Will of the Many, which I know I have raved about The Will of the Many so many times. So it's not surprising that Strength of the Few is on my anticipated releases for 2025. I already pre-ordered it, so I'm kind of waiting for it. So let me just get into it. It says, the hierarchy still calls me Vis Telemus, still hail me as Catanicus. They still as one believe they know who I am, but with all that has happened, with what I fear is coming, I'm not sure it matters anymore. I am no longer one. I won the Ludicium, lost everything, and now, impossibly, the ancient device beyond the labyrinth has replicated me across 3 separate worlds, a different version of myself in each of the Obithium, Lucium, and Res. 3 different bodies, 3 different lives. I have to hide, fight, play politics. I have to train, trust, lie. I have to kill, heal, prove myself again and again and again. I am loved and hated and entirely alone. Above all, though, I need to find answers before it's too late. To understand the nature of what has happened to me and why. I need to find a way to stop the coming catalysm, because if all I have learned is true, I may be the only one who can. So that really sounds like it gets me hyped knowing where we left off from book 1. And to that end, I'm actually going to do a reread right before Strand of the Few comes out, because I think that story is something that you have to be closely you have to remember the first book really, really well, so that, once the second book comes out, you're just like diving right into it. So The Strand of the Few comes out on 11/11/2025. So still have some time. You still have some time if you are just picking it up for the first time, or you have read it and you can do a quick reread before 11/11 comes by. And also, I love 11/11. That's just a fantastic thing. Okay. So the next book that I am anticipating or eagerly awaiting that's coming out in 2025. I already pre-ordered, and I've actually mentioned this book before. This will be Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. So this is going to be the book 2, or like the second part of Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, which I read earlier this year, 2025. Problematic Summer Romance follows one of the main protagonists in Not in Love. I think Eli follows his sister, where we see that his sister had a crush on her brother's friend. So it's like a May December kind of relationship. So I'm looking forward to that, because I do love May Decembers if they're done really well. Not like if they're done really well, they're actually, not bad. So I have the synopsis, and I'll kind of read it just a little. It says, Maya Kilgore is 23 and still in the process of figuring out her life. Connor Harkness is 38, and Maya cannot stop thinking about him. So that's the May December. Is there's a bit of an age gap between them. It's such a cliche. That's not part of the synopsis. I'm sorry. It's such a cliche, almost makes her heart explode. Older man and younger woman. Successful biotech guy and struggling grad student. Brother's best friend and girl he never even he never even knew existed. As Connor loves to remind her, the power dynamics is too imbalanced. Any relationship between them would be problematic in too many ways to count, and Maya should just get over him. After all, he has made it clear that he wants her gone from his life. So I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I mean, just that blurb alone, I'm like fronting. I'm like, let me at him. So I think this is a very if so May December, if done very well, can be very rich because it's like two worlds coming together where you it's a beautiful mesh when those two worlds come together. So I hope Ali, nails the landing with this one. It's sounding very fascinating and it's coming out 5/27/2025. So it's coming out in 2 weeks. So super excited for this one. I have it on pre-order, so I'm gonna get it right away. I will definitely read it because so Not in Love was not a fave, but I liked the book enough that I want to read the second book. So you know, if you like romance and if you read Not in Love, you know, Problematic Summer Romance is coming out in about 10 or 15 days. So pick it up if you will. The next book that I'm gonna talk about today is going to be Catabases by R.F. Kuang. Now, R.F. Kuang is not an author by author for me because I have read about two of her books or 3.5 or 2.5, and I mean, she can write, but one thing is she writes about things that I guess I'm not interested in. Her first published books were, The Poppy War, which was great. It's just magical realism that I didn't care for. The next book was Babel, which I didn't care for old English and like academics kind of books, so it wasn't really my thing. And then after that, she released Yellowface, which I read quite recently, and I definitely did not like that book. So, Catabases, I'm on the fence. I haven't pre-ordered it. I don't know if I will. I'm gonna wait to see, what kind of, how it's received, right? If people love it, fine. If they don't, then yeah, I'll just probably wait for it to get on my library before I instead of buying it, right? So let me read a little bit of the synopsis. It says, Alice Lore has only ever had one goal, to become one of the brightest minds in the field of magic. She has sacrificed everything to make that a reality. Her pride, her health, her love life, most definitely her sanity. All to work with Professor Jacob Grimes at Cambridge, the greatest musician, the greatest magician in the world. That is, until he dies in a magical accident that could possibly be her fault. Grimes is now in hell and she's going in after him because his recommendation could hold her very future in his now incorporeal hands, and even death is not going to stop the pursuit of her dreams. Okay, so I think that's what drew me to the book is how do you go to hell to bring him back? I don't know. So it's a very fascinating premise. I'm kind of like, I'm interested. I'm piqued. I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. Not something that we've heard before. Like someone descending into hell to it doesn't make sense. But that's why I'm hoping, like, when it comes out, hopefully it's good. I'll pick it up. I'm definitely interested in, reading about things that are outside of my regular kind of taste. So we'll see. So Catabases is coming out August 26th of 2025. So it's coming out pretty soon. It's probably going to be a standalone. She usually writes standalone, so you don't actually have to read anything before this book comes out, which is great. Yeah, so that's Catabases by R.F. Kuang. The next book that I am super kind of excited about, which is coming out in this year, is going to be Brigands and Bread Knives by Travis Baldree, who was the author, sorry, who is the author of Legends and Lattes. So when Legends and Lattes came out a while back, it got critical acclaim because it just kind of, became like a poster child for cozy fantasy. So I read Legends and Lattes, and I actually liked it. It was a story that didn't take itself so seriously, right? There was fantasy, but not really like, it's not like we see them casting a magic spell or anything. It's just using the themes or the things that we already know about fantastical worlds and incorporating it, and then coffee, like that was brilliant. So I really enjoyed Legends and Lattes. I did not read the other book in that world, which was Bookshops and Bone Dust or something like that, because it wasn't really like a continuation. It was kind of like a side story. So let me read the synopsis for um Brigands and Bread Knives. It says Fen has weathered the stillness and storms of a bookseller's life for decades, but now, in the face of crippling ennui, transplants herself to the city of Toon to hang out her shingle beside a long absent friend's coffee shop. What could be a better pairing? Surely a charming renovation montage will cure what ails her. If only things were so simple. Yeah, so it kind of talks about other stuff. It says it turns out that fixing your life isn't a one-time prospect, nor as easy as a change of scenery and a lick of paint. So yeah, that's Brigands and Bread Knives. I love the name. It's very unique. Brigands and Bread Knife is coming out 11/11, same day as the Shred of the Few. This is not something that I pre-ordered, so I don't know. I don't know if I will get it. I probably will get it like on my library, through my library app. We'll see. My Libby app. But pick it up, if you've read Legend of Lattes and Bone Dust and the Bone Shop and the other one, if you kind of like cozy fantasy, right? The next book that is an anticipated release. Okay, so this one is pretty weird. It's kind of like the same as Catabases, where it's not something I would typically want to read, but I read the synopsis and I was like, huh, okay, I might be interested. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read a little of the snippet. The name is Alchemized by Sen Lin Yu. And wow, this book is big. It's 1,000 pages. Okay, so it says, once a promising alchemist, Helena Marino is now a prisoner of war and of her own mind. Her resistant friends and allies have been brutally murdered, her abilities suppressed, and the world she knew destroyed. In the aftermath of a long war, Palladia's new ruling class of corrupt guild families and depraved necromancers whose vile undead creatures helped bring about their victories hold Helena captive. According to resistant records, she was a healer of little importance within their ranks. But as Helena has inexplicable memory loss of the months leading up to her captures, making her enemies wonder, is she truly as insignificant as she appears? Or are her lost memories hiding some important piece of the resistance final gamble? And it says, to uncover the memories buried deep within her mind, Helena is sent to the High Reeve, one of the most powerful and ruthless necromancers in this new world. Trapped on his crumbling estate, Helena's fight to protect her lost history and to preserve the last remaining shred of her former self is just beginning. For her prison and captor have secrets of their own. Secrets Helena must unearth whatever the cost. So it sounds very interesting, right? I'm like, okay. I mean, Sam and Yu has written other books. This is not their first book in any way. So I don't know. Like, I read it, even the cover is so gorgeous. It just gives me like a Dracula kind of vibe. So again, it's not my typical what I would read, but I'm open to reading new stuff. So magical realism is not something I would like lean to, but if I do see books that are, They are interesting. Like, I loved Adi LaRue. Adi LaRue was fantastic. So hopefully this one is kind of like something like that. I mean, they have necromancers, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna actually be on the fence on this one too. I want to see how well it's received, and see, what people like, if they, and see how, how much it's liked before I pick it up. Alchemize comes out 9/30/2025, so it's coming out later in the year. But if that sounds interesting to you, you can put it on your TBR, so that when it comes out, you can pick it up. Okay. So the last book that I want to talk about, I know I talked about a lot of books. This is gonna be Isles of the Ember Dark by Brandon Sanderson, which will be coming out 2026. So this is far out next year. The only reason why I'm bringing it up is because I will be getting it this year, because I got it as part of a Kickstarter package. So it's gonna be shipping out to backers later in fall, let's say September, October. We don't actually have like a date, but usually with the way Dragon Store works is you literally just get an email to say your package has been shipped. So super excited about Isles of the Ember Dark. Isles of the Ember Dark is following Six of Dusk. So if you've read his Arcanum Unbounded, collection of stories from Worlds in the Cosmere, Six of Dust was a very interesting novella where we got introduced to this world. So Eyes of the Ember Dark is going to expand on that world. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same protagonist. I think it is going to be the same protagonist. We can just, it's just going to continue. I'm not sure where it lands. If it's going to be something that's before, Six of Dust, or it's going to be something that's, kind of after that story in Arcanum Unbounded. But let me read the synopsis. It says, all his life, Six of Dusk has been a traditional trapper of Aviar, the supernatural birds his people bond with on the deadly island of Pachi. Then one fateful night, he propels his people into a race to modernize before they can be conquered by the ones above, invaders from the stars who want to exploit the AVR. But it's a race they're losing, and Dusk fears his people will lose themselves in the effort. When a chance comes to sail into the expanse of the Ember Dark, beyond a mystical portal, Dusk sets off to find his people's salvation with only a canoe, his birds, and all the grit and canniness of a Apache trapper. Elsewhere in the Emberdark is a young dragon chained in human form, starling of the starship Dynamic. She and her ragtag crew of exiles are deep in debt and on the brink of losing their freedom. So when she finds an ancient map to a hidden portal between the Emberdark and the physical realm, she seizes the chance at a lucrative discovery. And then it kind of goes on. It says, these unlikely allies might be the solution to each other's crisis in their search for independence. Dusk and Starling face perilous bargains, poisonous politics, and the destructive echo of a dead god. And he says, Sanderson explores his trillion novella, Six of the Ducks, into a mythical novel of legend, lore, and warring galactical superpowers. So, yeah, Isles of the Ember Dark is very fascinating. When I read Six of the Dusk, I was like, oh my god, or Six of Dusk. I don't know, Six of the Dusk. I don't know if I'm saying that right. When I read that novella, it was really interesting. I think that was one of my faves in the Arcanum Unbounded novellas. So I was very, very happy when he did announce that he was going to release a novel set in that world that kind of expanded on more. But one thing you will find, or you will realize quickly about Brandon Sanderson, is that he gives and he like barely gives. So I don't think that this book is going to answer a lot of questions that we have about the Cosmere, but it's probably going to answer, you know, some things, and then we have like 10,000 more questions about the worlds and magics and stuff like that. So like I said, Isles of the Ember Dark will come out on Amazon 2026, which is next year. But if you are a backer from the Kickstarter, you will definitely get it in 2025. And the cover is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous cover. I mean, one thing Sanderson will do is nail a good cover. So yeah, thank you for sticking around. Let me know any anticipated new releases that you are, you know, you are waiting for. Could be any genre, not romance, you know, fantasy, sci-fi. You know, I'm open to suggestions, because one thing is I always want to broaden my horizons and read outside my regular taste, which sometimes doesn't end well, but whatever. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. As always, please like, share, subscribe, and comment your own anticipated new releases that you are super excited for. And as always, I will see you guys in my next video. Have a lovely day. Bye.